everybody, welcome back. A few weeks ago I published a What's in My Sound Bag video where I briefly demonstrated how I have the Audioroot eSmart Treo distributing power to all the devices in my sound bag. And since then I've received a bunch of questions about the eSmart Treo. So today we're taking a deep dive into its features and a potentially serious issue that you need to be aware of and how to work around it if you're considering the eSmart Treo. Now, because you're watching this video, you probably already know why a BDS is essential. So we're going to skip that and get straight into what makes the Treo unique. Its inputs, outputs, its auxiliary settings, and a really great little display. So let's jump in. The eSmart Treo is compact and really well built, perfectly designed to integrate with your sound bag or for cart use. On the bottom, it features 3 power inputs on TA4M connections, and these are a priority and 2 secondary power inputs. These allow for some pretty flexible power configurations that I'm going to talk more about in just a minute. Another great thing about the unit is its daylight readable display, which provides detailed power metrics such as voltage, current draw, remaining battery capacity, and lots of super geeky battery data if that's your thing. And this is great for tracking power when using it in the field. The buttons are really tactile, solid, and require a long press to turn on or off, so there's no chance of accidentally turning things off when they really need to be turned on. You also get a USB-C and a USB-A charging port. Now, let's talk about some of those flexible ways you can configure power input and distribution. Using those 3 power inputs, the Treo supports 4 power source configurations. First, just using a single battery or DC source, and this is a simple setup used to distribute power to multiple devices when you only have 1 battery or 1 DC source. Second is dual secondary batteries, and this setup shares the power evenly between 2 batteries connected to the 2 secondary inputs for longer runtime. If one battery initially has more power than the other, it will drain first until the voltage is roughly equivalent to the second battery, and then they will drain together until they are both kaput. The third is a high priority battery and a single or dual secondary batteries. And this keeps one battery as the priority and then shifts the load to the other 1 or 2 secondary batteries when the priority battery is depleted. And this provides the longest runtime on battery, but this is where a potentially serious power switch over issue can occur, and I'm really going to dive deep into that in just a bit. Lastly, there's a high priority DC and single or dual battery on the secondary battery configurations, and this is used as a DC power source as the priority supply and the 2 batteries as secondary supplies. And this provides the ability to disconnect from your DC source and seamlessly switch over to battery. And this is a great configuration for moving quickly from a cart with a DC power supply to, let's say, bag battery work. So there's lots of flexibility for getting power into the Treo. Now let's talk about powering your devices with the Treo. Power outputs include 1 TA4F switchcraft DC output with SM bus battery data aggregation on the bottom panel. This is the output that you probably want to make sure you connect to your mixer, as it will supply smart battery data. You also have 4 Hiroshi DC outputs and 2 auxiliary DC outputs on the bottom. That's 6 Hiroshi connections. And if that is enough, there's also another Hiroshi auxiliary output on the top panel. So far this all sounds great, right? Well, we still need to talk about a critical issue with the power switchover that could cause you to lose power to your gear while you're recording. And I'm going to use my Sound Devices 888 to demonstrate this. Here's what happens. The Treo switches from the primary battery to a secondary battery or batteries when the primary battery voltage reaches 10.1 volts. However, the Sound Devices 888 has a default shutoff voltage of 10.75 volts on the smart battery setting. And this means that just before the Treo switches from the primary to the second battery, the 888 shuts down completely. Not great, right? Well, the good news here is that there's a pretty simple fix. Just go into your power settings on the 8 series and switch from smart battery to full range. This lowers the 8 series shutoff voltage from the 10.75 volts for smart batteries to 9.5 volts. And this will keep the 8 series powered on until the Treo switches to the fresh battery. preventing a possible power outage during your recording sessions. If you're using something like a Zoom F8 or an F8N Pro, you can set the shutdown voltage to 9.5 volts in the power source menu. Now, when doing this, you should probably always monitor and change your batteries before they become fully depleted. Running batteries to extremely low levels can potentially reduce their lifespan. Now, I'm almost always using the Treo in the high priority DC and dual secondary battery mode. This gives me plenty of runtime on battery and allows me to seamlessly connect and disconnect mains power when it's available. So this notorious battery power switchover issue doesn't seem to be a problem when using a DC source on the primary input. So I contacted Audioroot about this, and they said that the voltage switching is hardware enabled and can't be corrected with something like a firmware update. However, they might consider implementing this in future versions. But this workaround should ensure a smooth transition between a primary and a secondary battery and keep your gear running without interruption. So that's a deep dive into the Audioroot eSmart Treo, its main features, inputs, outputs, and a heads up about a potential power switchover issue that you may encounter. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gear insights, and drop a comment below if you've run into any power-related quirks with your setup. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.